Hi, everyone. This is Donna, and today I'm hosting my very first live question and answer event. And I've invited everyone to join for free. And I will be answering all of your questions from my home via Zoom. And I really can't wait to get started. So if you've got a question, I hope I can get to it and answer it. But if we don't, you can always count on maybe there being another Zoom next week. We're going to try to do these on a regular basis. So with that, let's get started.
Hi, everybody. My name is Chris. I'm Donna's website manager. I will be your host today. Thank you all for joining us. Donna is here too. Say hi, Donna.
Hi, everybody. Excited to see everybody.
Yeah. So, we just wanted to have a little get together. We miss you guys. You know, quarantine has been driving us all crazy all summer long. We just wanted to have an opportunity to be able to talk to you and let you ask whatever questions you may have. Let's get this thing started. So we've never done this on Zoom before, so bear with us as we kind of figure things out. If you want to ask Donna a question, just send me a private message. I'm Chris Johnston. Just send it to the host, and I will see your questions, and then I'll be able to unmute your mic and or video if you want to, and you can just ask Donna directly, and we'll just go from there. So let's see. We don't have any questions yet, but I want to thank you, Wanda, for joining, Amber, Anna, Bethany, Candace, Cindy, Elizabeth, Janine, Lynn, Marvel, Milan, Nancy, Randy, Wendy. Thank you guys for joining us today. If anybody has any questions, you can either, if you know how to use Zoom, raise your hand. Just send me a chat. Donna, if you want to add anything to that. Nobody's asked me anything yet, so we can just tell them how your day's going so far.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me. We're going to be, we get so many emails every day that we answer questions, and I thought it would be really fun to be able to see you guys. We haven't been able to do any live classes because of the quarantine, and I'm missing seeing and talking with everybody individually. And it's always fun, and everybody always enjoys hearing in my classes the other questions that people have, because it always helps them too. And Cultured Foods I've been doing this, I think, 20 years now? So I've got 2000, let's see, it was 2001, I think I started. And so almost 20 years, so 19. But it has been such a journey for me, and I got some of the sweetest emails this week. I get a lot of emails about people who are skeptical, and then they try cultured foods, and then they write me these emails that are so wonderful, because I had one lady in particular, and she'd been struggling. Chris, do you remember what it was? She was having a lot of problems. She'd had a baby. It was like 10 months old. She'd been having a lot of problems with I think it was diarrhea, constipation, wasn't it, Chris? I think that she was having for like years, and the doctor said that they thought she had a mild problem with what was it? It was a gluten intolerance, but it was something else. It wasn't IBS. It was Crohn's. That's what they said that they thought. And after 2 years of struggling with, she just decided she was going to drink kefir every day, and she did. And within a week or 2 weeks, all her problems started going away. The problems with her infant started going away. She was basically crying in this email. I was crying when I was reading it. And it was simply by changing one thing in her diet, and that was just adding kefir every morning. And I get those emails every day. It's so exciting to me to be able to share these kinds of things with you. So if you guys have any questions, or just want to talk to me, I would love to talk.
I think we'll first go to Nancy. Let me unmute Nancy.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi. Just fine. I used to listen to you on the Hay House radio show, and I got brave enough and did kefir. Oh. And I've been doing that for a while, and it's pretty automatic now. I get up in the morning and I just go through the drill and drink what I make every morning. I make just a cup at a time because I'm single. And the stuff I store in the refrigerator always I never get around to. So, but
I
I'd really,
do. That's what my thing every morning.
yeah, I'd like to do the kombucha, and I'm a little nervous. It sounds hard, and the little SCOBY thing looks kind of strange.
And well, let me tell you about kombucha. Okay, so kombucha, it's a little bit, okay, kefir's probably the easiest of the cultured foods to make.
Yep.
And kombucha is a little bit more challenging, but it's more about temperature and about how strong your starter tea is. So if you have a really strong starter tea and you have a kombucha SCOBY, you should be good. But let me tell you the reason that I have kombucha. I have it almost every day. And the reason I do that, well, it's changed throughout the years. First of all, when you drink kombucha, there is this super cool probiotic yeast in it that isn't in the other cultured foods. And it's called Saccharomyces boulardii. And it's the #1 probiotic used in hospitals worldwide. But what it does is when you drink it, it goes into your body and it acts like a pathogen. And what it does is it attracts all the pathogens to you. And I mean, to that certain yeast, they think that it's their friend. And then it steals all its nutrients and they die. And then it's passed out of the body. And it takes about 3 to 5 days. And the thing about this particular probiotic, it doesn't last in the body very long, but it has helped me so much. A few years back when I went through menopause, it's so good for your hormones. It helps protect the gut lining. It keeps out the pathogens, but you do have to have it every 3 to 5 days because it doesn't last very long. But it helps with diarrhea. It helps with constipation, especially if you have to have an antibiotic. Telling you, if you have to have an antibiotic, make sure you drink kombucha because it's a probiotic yeast, so the antibiotic won't kill it, and it will keep that gut lining intact while a lot of your good bacteria is getting killed off by an antibiotic. So culture, let me just tell you this real quick. When you're making kombucha, you got to make sure your temperature is consistent, and if your home isn't about 75 degrees naturally, I would recommend getting a brew belt. That'll take care of all the heat problems, and then you'll have kombucha every week, the same time, the same thing. You just get a brew belt around it. And I sell them, but you can also get them online. And then you need a strong starter tea because the starter tea is the most important thing, not the SCOBY. The SCOBY, you can actually make your own SCOBY from kombucha. If you have strong starter tea, it will actually make you a SCOBY. But you got to have strong starter tea. And if it's weak, that's the problem when people have making kombucha. But other than that, you're basically just making a pot of tea. You're putting your SCOBY and your starter in. And if you keep that temperature consistent, and in a week or 10 days, you'll have kombucha.
Awesome.
Okay. And I can help you. We answer guys, here's the deal. We answer all of our emails. Everybody who asks us a question, we answer them. I mean, we've got 3 people answering emails every day. We all are here to help you because I really want you to be successful. And the reason, guys, I want you to be successful is because if you feel better, you do better. You wind up, never in a million thousand years did I ever think I'd have a website or write books. I hated writing in high school. I mean, I don't even remember if I don't think I was very good. But because I felt better when I started eating these foods, you guys, it was like the whole world changed for me. And these hidden little gifts that I had inside of me that I didn't even know were there emerged when I felt better. I didn't know I liked writing. I actually paid my sister in high school to do my homework in English class because I hated it so much. But these little hidden gifts that we all have, each one of us has gifts, start to emerge when you feel better. And so if you guys wind up having websites to write book, it is not my fault when you start feeling better. But that's what happens a lot of times is that when you feel better, you wind up doing things to help your sisters and brothers because you want them to feel good like you do. Because it's possible. And they're not telling you it's possible, but it's possible. I've lived it. I know it. There's a lot of people out there promoting fermented foods, but they haven't lived it. They don't love it. They are actively crazy about their kefir grains like I am. Like they don't tell me when people kill their kefir grains because it upsets me. But the reason it upsets me is because I know how beneficial they are to all of you. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because does anybody else want to ask a question?
Well, Nancy still had her hand raised. Did that answer your question, Nancy, or do you still have a question?
No, it answered it. I just wanted to say thank you and also say for people who haven't tried calling in, I have emailed and called in and I've gotten answers to everything. And I've asked some really specific stuff because I know you have a lot of people who write in about stories and, I'd go through the website and would just I'd have one more question and I'd call in and they would get an answer from you for me. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much, Nancy. All right, the next one will be Elizabeth Baca. She had a question about cultured vegetables.
Okay.
Hi, it's nice to talk to you.
Oh, hi. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
Here in Albuquerque, trying to keep the sun from flooding the house.
I know. I had
anyway,
to close all my things too.
I know, it's terrible. Now I look like...
My dad was born and raised in Albuquerque.
Oh, yay.
So, yeah.
Yay. So I make all three. I make the vegetables, and I have a wonderful, wonderful kefir culture, and I do kombucha pretty regularly. My question is about my purple cabbage. I like to do purple cabbage. I don't know if that's, I just think the color is a good thing. And I don't use a culture. I just use a salt brine. And what has been happening to me over the last year is that it'll bubble up and it'll like froth, the fluid will come out of the whatever stopper I have. I use those
Airlock.
those nipple things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I also have airlock too.
Yeah, either one works great.
Yeah, but what happens is all the juice comes out, and then it loses its juice, and then at the end of, when I'm ready to open it and use it, the top inch or so is kind of dry and whitish.
So all the liquid goes out of the cultured veggies?
Well, not all of it, but probably a lot.
Well, what happens is you're just filling your jars too much. So I would split up the jars if you're doing it, and I would add, I usually tell you to give you 2 inches at the top. Well, I would add 3 inches at the top with you and add more water, because that brine is every bit as powerful as the cultured vegetables, every bit.
Right.
So if you just drink it, I can't tell you how many times we drink just the brine because somebody's not feeling well. I mean, it's our go-to thing when somebody's got an upset stomach or not feeling well. And so we'll just take a spoonful of the brine, because sometimes you don't want to eat the vegetables.
Yeah.
But I just did an article called, I don't think I called them gut shots, because somebody said that wasn't very appetizing. But it was something like, what was it called, Chris? What was the article? It wasn't gut shots. It was gut
something shots.
Was it? Something.
I think so. Yeah.
It was
your gut needs cultured veggie juice or something?
Your gut needs cultured veggie. And what I did is I made half vegetables and half juice. And then your juice wouldn't go out. You don't have to do that extreme, but I would not pack the jars so much, and I would add more extra room. And if it does come out, it's okay. And I usually add more liquid if it does. Add more water. So if it's doing, your house is probably really warm. Is it warm?
Well, yeah, it probably happened in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I love the juice too, and I was really missing the fact that it was gone.
You can even do half juice, half vegetables. I do that all the time.
Super.
Because everybody in my family likes the juice, because that's what they have. So you should try that. You would really like it. And it's probably just because your house is warm, so you probably don't need to ferment them as long if your house is warm.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so the next question is from GM. She just wanted me to read it. She said, if I ferment something and we don't like it, can I dump it in the compost heap? Are those microbes compatible with each other?
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are they're alive and working, so it actually will ferment your stuff faster. But yes, you can do that, because I've done that many times.
Awesome. Okay, Lynn, let me bring Lynn on here. Hang on just a second. I got to locate her. She had a question about using starter cultures.
Okay.
Hi, Lynn. Are you there? All right. Well, I'll just say her question. She said, "What is the advantages to using the starter culture?"
I just actually linked this to somebody this morning. We were answering an email. And here's the deal with the starter cultures. You don't need a starter culture to make cultured vegetables, but what I have found is that I had somebody come to my class, and she did it with just salt. You got to have salt if you don't use a starter culture, and you need salt to keep your vegetables crunchy. So if you're going to make cultured vegetables, you need salt, because otherwise they'll be mushy and slimy, and that keeps the crunch in them. But it also drops the pH in the cultured vegetables. So you really need to make sure you add enough salt if you're not using culture. But if you do add a culture, what I found is, I had a microbiologist come to my class. She tested the ones with salt, just with salt, and the ones with the culture. and they were 3 to 4 times more probiotics in them. And I noticed that when I had the ones that you use cultures in, we got better faster if we got sick, or they were more effective. And I could tell that. And then when I developed the cutting edge culture product, they found that they had much more probiotics in them than ones that didn't have salt. You still have some with salt, but after about 4 to 6 weeks, that really, really, really diminishes. And if you don't add a culture. Whereas if you add a culture, you're going to double your probiotics, and they're going to last longer in your refrigerator for a long time. So that's why I recommend cultures. Kefir whey you can also use. However, I never use kefir whey anymore because it gives the vegetables a strong tang. And it also puts some bacteria in there that are not naturally occurring in cultured vegetables. So I like to kind of keep that more. Lactobacillus plantarum is like a superstar bacteria in cultured vegetables. And you want as much of that as you can get. And it's pretty powerful, and it's the thing that you want the most, and that's what's in the packages that we have that make it stronger.
Awesome. All right. Candace has our next question. Are you there, Candace?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Well, it's good morning. I'm in Australia, so it's like 4:30 in the morning here.
Oh no, that's awesome that you got up for that.
Yeah, I wanted to say hello because I love your podcast and everything you do. So it's just wonderful to, connect, meet face to face. So thank you. My question is about non-dairy kefir and how to get it creamy, because I'm trying to go a little bit more plant-based. And even though I use dairy, I'm trying to get my, if I do almond or another type of non-dairy milk to be creamy, and it separates so fast, and it just
that's because nuts are mostly nut milks are mostly made with water, because you add the nuts and then you add the water, so it's watery. But I have two recipes. There's a certain type of milk nut plant, I'm not sure what's it called. One of them's Ripple, one of them's Silk with Protein, and the new one was what, Chris? Do you remember what that was? There was another milk.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
See if you can find it. We could give her the link. But what the deal is, it has some pea protein in it, I think, and it makes it thick and creamy like yogurt. There's 3 different kinds of these types of milk.
It's Orgain.
What's it called?
It's called Orgain. I got it on Amazon, and I've tried it. It's delicious.
It's really good. Ripple milk is good too, and they put a little bit of pea protein in it. Now, I've tried to make the non-dairy kefir with pea protein, and it was disgusting. So I don't know what they do. So, but those 3 milks make yogurt tasting kefir. Really good.
Okay.
And they even have a chocolate one that I made for my daughter out of the Ripple milk that she loved. It took longer to ferment because there was more sugars in it. But it does make thick non-dairy kefir that you will love. I don't know if you can get those. Have you heard of those?
No, not here, but I make most of my own milks, so I can actually just make them a lot more concentrated, right? So I make them with like 1 cup of nuts to 4 cups of water. Maybe I'll do it to 2 cups of water and just see, I blend them and then use a nut bag. I might just do it a more concentrated.
One of the things I do on I have like 18 non-dairy recipes. What I do, and this does make thick kefir. Okay, so you know how you strain out the liquid after you soaked them? I blend up the nuts with it. And when you do that, you just blend it up, it makes it very thick.
Okay.
It makes a really thick nut milk. And it tastes really good. That's what I always did. So instead of just taking the nuts and discarding them, I blend them into the milk that's strained out, and it does make a lot thicker kefir. Now, if you're doing kefir grains, you're going to have to go digging because they get super thick. So it works really well with that product, Easy Kefir, which is just the powder, which is really kefir grains that are just flash frozen. And that works really good for non-dairy kefir. That's my favorite way to make non-dairy kefir. But when you do it with grains, I always am just digging out my grains because they get caught in the meal of the nut. So that's another option. But I'll send you, Chris, can you send her that link?
Yep, I already did. You see it in the chat there, Candace?
Yep, great. Thank you.
Okay. And did you send her the 18 different types of non-dairy? And that has the thick ones in there too. Is that what you sent her, Chris?
I sent her the link for the Orgain, but I can send her the thick.
Send her the one that has all of the non-dairy kefirs in it, because we've got flaxseed and peanuts and rice kefir in. I mean, we got everyone except for hemp kefir because we tried that and it was disgusting too. So we didn't like it. So we didn't put it in there.
Perfect.
So, but
Thank
you
you
can try
very
it.
much.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for getting up. We appreciate it.
No worries.
So.
All right, and guys, we also have Macy, Donna's daughter, here to answer any questions if you have any for her. And she's really great about answering forum questions, or she's the one that you'll chat with on our, if you're a Bio Pro member on our website, she does a live chat. So say hi, Macy, and if you have any questions for her, just let me know and we'll put you in touch with her. Let's see, the next person is Sarah, and I don't see a last name, so let me
Yeah, is that you waving, Sarah?
All right, Sarah, I put in a request to unmute you.
Okay, I'm unmuted.
Okay, hi Sarah, how's it going? What was your question? It was about salt?
Yeah, well, I'm mostly here because I'm just starting. I've been waiting for it to get cool enough that you can send me the kefir grains. I can't live without kefir.
Where are you at?
Well, I moved from California to southern eastern Arizona in the high desert. And next week it's going to be in the 70s.
Yay!
Send it to me quick. But anyway, I was interested in the previous question where she was talking about brining the vegetables. I haven't started doing that, although I do buy the sauerkraut, the natural sauerkraut. And being older, I found that eating too much salt works a havoc with your vestibular system. And so I try to limit my salt. And I was wondering if the salt in these naturally, I don't know how to talk, but the cultured vegetables, is that the same sodium, or limiting it the same way that you would a hot dog, say, or mustard,
Well, the salt that I really recommend you use is one that's high in minerals. So Celtic sea salt, Himalayan, they are very different than a regular salt because they have 80 to 100 minerals in them. And when you strip salt of all the minerals, you get a very high sodium food that it's lost all of its balance. It's kind of like any of the foods, they strip them, whether they refine them, they chemically process them. Whenever they do that, they strip out all the nutrients. So it's the same with salt. So when I used to have a problem with salt back in the day when I used to have high blood pressure. And when I started using mineral salt, because it has so much magnesium in it, it would lower my blood pressure because I needed that magnesium. So what I found with cultured foods, and especially with the cultured vegetables, when you add salt, if you use a good mineral salt, your body loves mineral. It needs minerals. Actually, I'm writing a blog about that this week about why it's so important to have minerals in your food, but also in fermentation, you just need those minerals to ferment properly. And your fermentation, your kefir grains, your cultured vegetables, kombucha, they all love minerals. For instance, in kombucha, you don't want to use distilled water because it doesn't have any minerals. And so your kombucha doesn't do as well. And it's the same with cultured vegetables. So I really recommend, you really need the salt for fermentation. But once again, when you ferment something, I don't care whether it's kefir or cultured vegetables, it's a completely different food than it was before. Because the nutrients skyrocket, the vitamin C goes through the roof, the B vitamins go through the roof because the process of fermentation transforms the food and makes it completely different than it was before. And with salt, it's the same type of thing. You watch your salt intake. I mean, as far as watch what happens if you eat cultured vegetables and see how you feel and do with them. And see if you use a high mineral salt. I love Celtic sea salt the most because it has the magnesium. That's what makes it wet and moist, and that's why I use that almost exclusively. I do like Himalayan, but it doesn't have as much magnesium. But see if that doesn't help you.
Awesome. Okay, next question is, I hope I'm saying that, Ranny or Rainy. Let's see. A question about the Hickama if you're Sycamore video. Are you there, Rainy?
She's waving. I don't think you're on. Did you unmute her?
Yeah, you gotta click the unmute button.
Okay, thank
There
you.
you go. I hear you.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm excited. I'm new, not really new, but new as a
Probiotic member?
Yes. I'm a little nervous. I'm getting a kefir grain coming next week, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I want to do like Candace, use the dairy.
Non-dairy.
Yeah, so my question is, can I put it in the non-dairy milk, but then once I have the kefir, can I put it to
Back.
give it food back to on a vitamin D regular milk? Because I never drink milk.
It doesn't really like switching back and forth. I used to tell people it was okay, but it really doesn't like it. It adapts to the non-dairy milk. And so if you really want to do that, I recommend saving some, letting them grow and multiply because they'll double in a week. And keeping some for milk and keeping some for non-dairy because they don't like switching back and forth. They get a little bit diminished because of the different types of the different types of compounds that are in the milk itself. So for instance, if you do any non-dairy milk, you need to give it some extra food because most non-dairy milks are very low in carbohydrates. And carbohydrates is what your milk needs to turn into probiotics. So you need to have some more food for it. So we recommend things like date paste or you know, a good sugar that's, you know, got minerals in it and things like that. And it's like a teaspoon for a quart or something, I think is what we've got.
Can I use organic sugar or?
Yes, you can use organic sugar. And on every single recipe, and Chris, can you give her that link too to all the different non-dairy kefirs?
Yeah.
All of them, I have that on all the recipes, how much you can add. I have instructions to use Easy Keeper or instructions to use kefir grain on every recipe so that you can make your nut kefirs tend to be thinner because they're mostly made out of water and nuts. So, but then I have recipes for thicker ones like we talked about before.
Okay, so if I use, if I put the grain after I multiply them and put the grain in the, say, almond milk, can I put it in the coconut milk next time or it should stay with almond milk?
No, you can actually switch around the non-dairy milks, but switching it back, and you can actually switch it back to dairy, but it doesn't always do as well.
But
when it
the
goes,
different non-dairy milk is okay.
yeah, usually they do okay. Every once in a while they don't because, I don't know, they kind of have a mind of their own, those kefir grains. So you got to kind of baby them. They kind of like what they like, and you'll kind of figure that out as you go along. But you can revive them if you put them back in milk a little bit and give them a little things, but they take a while to come back and they don't like it. So I recommend just either sticking with non-dairy milks and keeping them in those, and keeping a few grains for your regular milk if you want to.
I should have two jars to feed them, dairy and non-dairy.
Right, and you can stick them in your fridge for a while in regular dairy, but you got to make sure you give them food every week. They don't like it. They diminish over time if you keep them in the fridge, but you can keep them in the fridge if you feed them, but just give them a lot of milk. And I explain how to do that. Guys, I have a really good fact section. If you look on my website, you'll see this little smiley part at the top. It says start here. And I have FAQs for every single one of my cultured foods, and I have a lot of them. So almost every question that I get is on that FAQ about kefir grains. So if you ever have a question, you can either email me or you can look on those FAQs, because 9 times out of 10, it'll be on there. Because if anybody knows how to do this, I've done this so long. I've come into every problem that there ever was. So that should help everybody. But a lot of people just don't know it's there. So that the FAQs are there. And that goes for every cultured food.
Okay. And my first time I make jicama mama.
Yeah.
It's delicious, but after it's been like about a month, and it's just becoming very sour.
Yeah, and it'll keep doing that over time because the bacteria are alive in there. So it continues to eat the sugar out of the jicama. And the jicama has a lot of sugar in it. So it continues to eat them out of there. And over time, it gets more and more sour tasting. And that's with any cultured food.
Can I use that to make another jicama?
Yeah, you could probably use that to make another batch, especially if it's sour. So though you can reuse the brine from your cultured vegetables to make another one. And the only time I recommend not doing that, I mean, you can always use like a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup. So let's say you want to make a 1/2 gallon, use a 1/2 gallon of the brine to put in another jar, and then you fill it up with water and you fill it up with vegetables. Does that make sense?
Of brine.
And if you do, what'd you say?
Half a cup of brine. You said a half gallon of brine.
If you're making a half-gallon jar, you use a half a cup of brine to make it. Yeah, so that works really, it works really, really good to, you know what I mean, to make them and to reuse the brine and to use it over and over. You can use it over and over. Now, if it starts to get like mold, or not mold, yeast, which is a common yeast, which is like a white, it looks like mold. And you want to make sure you use a new culture again, because then it's starting to get old.
Okay, thank you. And for Chris, I don't know how to raise hand on the screen.
Oh, don't worry about it. Zoom is new to me too, but we got to go to, we only have about 8 more minutes left before they're going to cut us off. So we have about a couple more questions. The next one will be for Wendy. How you doing, Wendy? All right, if you can unmute yourself.
Where is Wendy? Oh, there she is. Hi, Wendy.
I'm trying to unmute you. There we go.
Yes, how are y'all?
How's it going?
Hey, I'm good. We live in Louisiana, and we had recently had 2 hurricanes come through our little town. And my parents make kombucha, kefir, and we make sauerkraut. So we've been trying to keep everything going. Not having electricity it was like 27 days for the first hurricane and 3 days for the second hurricane. But anyways, we've managed to keep it all going. I had emailed y'all about the kefir question. It was kind of acting funny, but it did kind of straighten itself back out. I think it was just the temperature's changing so much. But I was wondering, so it's going well again, the kefir. We're going out of town tomorrow, and I just made it like 2 hours ago. So is it okay for me, say after like 12 hours, to put it in the ice box? Like normally it ferments the full 24. Is it okay to put it in the ice box and let it ferment the rest of the way? We'll be going for like a day and a half. And then when I get back, make it?
Yeah, you could do that. It'd probably be better to put it in fresh milk, because it'll give it more milk. Or you know what? Here's what you should do. Do you have any room in the jar? Do you have a bigger jar you can put it in?
Actually, I put it in a half gallon, but I have a little bit more grains than normal in it, like a little more than 2 tablespoons. So I was hoping it would ferment faster. So if I put it in there, say like we're leaving at 2 a.m. So it's going to have ferment at like 15 hours. I was going to just take it and put it in the ice box and let it. Does that sound like practical?
Fine. Yeah, it should be fine for a couple of days, you said?
A couple of days. And then I would take it out, and I want to like put it in milk and then I have to start over again. I want to have like, can I keep the kefir going? You know what I'm saying?
It might not ferment and be thick like it normally is, but it'll be fine. That's enough food for it to do. So it should be fine. And yeah, it usually will last a week, but since you've already fermented it for some period of time, it'll probably last you like 4 or 5 days. So like, so it should be fine.
Because it'll be under fermented?
Because it'll be what?
It would last under fermented because it didn't stay the whole 24 hours?
Yeah, well, what it will be is it'll be more runny. It might not be. It just depends on your grains and how they are. It can either be just like normal, or it can be more runny like milk. But if it is, you can just, sit it on the counter for like 6 hours and it'll probably perk right up. So that's not very long for it to ferment. So.
Okay. And people that are normally dairy intolerant normally do okay with kefir?
Well, it's lactose free. It's 99.9% lactose free, because here's the deal. This is what the coolest thing about kefir is, that it takes the milk sugars, which is the lactose, and turns them into probiotics. It eats them as fuel. So there is none left. That's what makes that sour, tart taste, is the fact that the microbes are eating all the lactose out of the milk. So I know tons and tons and tons of people who are lactose intolerant but do absolutely fine on kefir, because there's no lactose in it. So unless your problem is something else. Pardon?
Okay. Can I ask one more fast question? I make the sourdough bread, the einkorn flour, and love it. So is that okay to eat that every day? It's so good.
Oh my gosh. Well, you could come over to my house and eat it every day with me, because I eat it every day. I have it every morning with my kefir. I have a piece of einkorn or sourdough toast every single morning. And you know what? I can do it. I haven't told anybody this yet, but this week on my blog, I made, you guys, they're so good. I made kefir sourdough English muffins that are to die for. They are so good. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to make them every day now. It's ridiculous. I can't. They're so good. And you just mix it all up. I timed it. It takes 7 minutes. You mix it all up. You let it sit overnight, just like the bread. And in the morning, you put them on a griddle and make them. And they're puffy, and they got those little crannies in them. Oh, you guys are gonna love them. I love them so much. I ate 4 yesterday. I had it for lunch, I had it for dinner, I had it for breakfast. They're so good. So yes, you can have it every day. I have it every day. I have sourdough bread every single day. So
the recipe will be out in this Sunday's blog. So it's not available yet, but just check your email and we'll release it then. Thank you, Wendy. We got probably time for one more question. We'll go to, I believe it's pronounced Terza. How's it going, Terza? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks for addressing my question.
No problem.
I know, Donna,
2 minutes before we got to cut you off. So.
Okay. Donna, I know you've posted many times about how to keep cucumbers into pickles crispy.
Right.
I cannot get them to stay crispy.
Are you using a culture?
No, I'm using whey. I'm using the whey from milk.
Are you using salt?
Kefir. Yes.
Are you using the exact amount of salt I recommend? The salt is what's keeping them crispy.
Okay.
I would use less kefir whey and more salt. Make sure you use the exact amount I say. That's a #1 thing for keeping vegetables crunchy when you ferment them, is the salt. And that's the deal. And I would use less kefir whey. Cut it in half.
Using quarter cup, but use less.
Because sometimes that can interfere a little bit. So, do you guys like this? Do you want me to do this on a regular basis?
Yes, please.
Do you think this would be a good idea? Wouldn't this be fun? And I could see. I would love that. Okay, so since you guys were my first ones, I'm going to give you my sourdough English muffin recipe first. Can we do that? Can we give it to them?
Sure. Yeah, let me.
Let's give it to them before everybody else gets it. Okay.
Right. I have to publish it, or I have to. I'll make it unlisted. Give me just a second to.
Okay, so we'll send it to you all.
I'll just email it to you all. That'd be the easiest.
Email you all. Get it first because you guys came to my first Zoom conference, and you know what? Everybody that's in this room, Chris, can you give them a membership? Can you give them a month membership?
Well, I'm not sure. I can. What I can have you do is send us an email at support@culturedfoodlife.com, because I don't have everybody's email on the Zoom thing, and just say you were at the meeting. And if you're not a member, we'll give you a free membership.
Okay. So, because I can't give you vegetables, I can't give you jars because I can't see you. So I'll give you something. Right. So it's just fun. But I really appreciate you guys. Is time up?
Yep, time's up. We got to go. So thank you all for coming, and we definitely will probably be doing this again in the future. So stay tuned for that, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.